Welcome to Sh Matters Podcast, where we have unfiltered conversations about the sh that really matters.
Welcome to Shit Matters Podcast. I'm your co-host, Michael Burst, alongside my brothers Josh, Brandon, and Kenny. Good morning, gentlemen. Cheers.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Gonna see us.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? That man been in Florida for like 2 years. He's Latino now.
I don't know who you think he is, man.
Rico Suave over there now. Okay. Shoot. Well, good morning, guys. How you boys doing?
Doing well.
Living the dream.
Kenny was traveling internationally last week in a place called Chicago. You know, he had some foreign cuisines and learned some new languages. Is that right?
Deep dish pizza, you know?
Uh-huh.
I was actually at a conference at Northwestern University. Beautiful campus if you ever get up there. And
it's like a sports though.
Yeah, terrible at sports. But yeah, beautiful area. I give Chicago shit, but one of the nicest parts of the country in the summertime. That's for sure.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
Definitely on the shoreline. And then on better news, Brandon's wife posted this beautiful picture of their little girl. And it was the most ovary intense. I have no ovaries, but if I had ovaries. The thing was going crazy. But I told my fiance, I said, baby, listen, we need to have kids right now because I need one of those. I need one of those bad. Boy, the most beautiful girl in the world, man. Congratulations to you and Tracy.
Yeah, man.
Truly.
Appreciate it, brother. Thanks.
You know, the dad bod is coming, so be careful. You know,
trying to fight it.
And I know you miss the fit. You work all the time and stuff, but you know.
It's relentless, dude. It's relentless.
So we good to go. So today we are going to discuss failure. And for some people, failure can be a daunting thing. It can be a negative thing. It can be something that holds them back. But for those who have the ability to see failure from a different lens, see it as a projecting action or event, they're able to create beautiful things from that. I think everything we have in this world came from failure. Your phones, your lights, your cars, your computers, your relationships, your jobs, you know what I'm saying, your bodies as well, all went through some form of failure. And for those who have the ability, and again, the capacity, I love the word capacity. I think it's a very important word, who have built the capacity to see failure for what it is, as an ability to create innovation, as an ability to reset yourself, as an ability to humble yourself, build character. I think those are the ones who go on to do great things. So we've all experienced failure in some way in our lives. I think the one thing that I want to discuss right now, and anybody can kick in on this, and don't bullshit the listeners. You ain't always been well at handling failure. I know Josh for damn sure your ass probably was not good at handling failure at some point in life. All right. Then we get on to the point where you grew the capacity to land the good. But what are some instances where you dealt with failure and you didn't handle it right, and it cost you? And then what some times when you handled failure, you learn from that and you grew from it?
To set the foundation for a second, I think there's two aspects here. There's the importance of failure, like you said, D, and then there's two people failing to realize why they fail in the first place. And I heard something recently that I just absolutely love. There's a lot of fucking surprised people in the world. And let me explain that statement for a second. So, hey, you're trying out for your varsity basketball team and you didn't make the cut. Why the hell didn't I make the cut? Well, your ass wasn't in the gym shooting for 5 hours a day, right? Failing to recognize why you fail in certain instances, but then also turning that, like you said, into a positive, which is, I think, the toughest for people. I don't know if the three of you would agree with that, but, you know, just spinning failure as a positive to say, okay, I failed. Now what? I mean, how am I going to rectify whatever it is that I just failed at? We can, all the people that we listen to, I know those billionaires out there, to Michael Jordan, you name it, they all have said quotes around, I am where I am today because I failed. I mean, I failed miserably. I failed at business. I failed previously at sports, right? I mean, whatever they're doing in life, they've actually accredited failure to a lot of that growth. So I think for this discussion, we really should hone in on those two aspects. There's a lot of freaking surprised people out there, which is funny to me because it's such a simple term when you realize, yeah, when you step back for a second, why did I not gain 20 pounds of muscle? Well, my ass wasn't in the gym 5 or 7 days a week, right? Trying to get better. I mean, when you step back and realize, well, why did I fail? It's not all external events. It's not all things that are outside of our control. I'm not saying that there aren't some surprises in life. There are, right? I mean, life's gonna freaking knock you down and hit you in the gut, but there's a lot of things that are inside of our control around failure. I just love that statement so much. There's a lot of fucking surprised people in the world, and it's because they're just not self-aware. And I think failure is a really good topic around kind of the surprising aspect of this, is that it's really simple, in terms of why a lot of people fail at certain things, I think.
No, hey, so I think 100% you're talking about folks not being prepared, not putting in the work to have succeeded in anything that they were pursuing, and they act like it's somebody else's fault that they didn't succeed in this particular avenue, right? You hit it on the head. It's lack of self-awareness, or better yet, lack of accountability. And I think that is a pandemic across this country. Folks lack the ability to have the accountability to assess where they fell short at. And they spiral down, and those are the ones who keep failing because they have the ability to take the look inside and say, cool, I didn't go hard enough. I didn't run like I should have. I didn't change my diet. I didn't read last night. I didn't study like I should have. I didn't do these things. Beauty of that, you can change those things though. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think to your point, Michael, I think a lot of that stems from or is here because of there is no accountability to each other. I think people find it easier to not take accountability when they're the only person that knows what they're doing or what they're striving towards, if that makes sense. They don't have a person in their corner to or that they reach out to have that accountability partner throughout the process. And then what happens is when they see someone like that was in the same position as them that actually achieves it or moves closer to the goal than they did, they're able to essentially, quote unquote, shame that person because it's going to make their ego feel better. But at the end of the day, that's back to Kenny's point where it's like they didn't have the self-awareness to realize maybe they actually, spent the 10 hours a day or whatever it was at whatever they're looking to achieve, XYZ, to get to that point. So I think that's just an important perspective to look at. Is a lot of people are failing because they're not holding themselves accountable, but I think it's also because they're not being open about where they're trying to go and putting that responsibility on others to hold them accountable as well.
To answer your original question, though, like what kind of failure did we have to go through to actually get to where we're at? Like I've had numerous amounts of failures. I'll be honest with you. I know back in 2016, me and Kenny tried to do an LLC. We started Trust the P, and it was something to do with the Sixers of trusting the process of we were going to come out with a bunch of apparel. And, we gave it an effort. We put some money towards it and, but we really didn't follow through. And let's be honest, like, that was an absolute failure. Like, 2017 started another company. It was a trash valet company. I was only able to get like a couple accounts from that, but it was like, it really amounted to a failure as well. I think it changed my perception of, I gave it a try. I think failure is more so you gave it a try and it just might have not been the right door for you. If that door shuts, I'm a big believer of not trying to pry it open. I had that mindset just from constantly trying new things and constantly trying new things. If it doesn't work out, then just move on to the next thing. So I don't think I've never not had that mindset of keep trying things. I'm a real big believer of constantly making plays, but in the same sense, though, failure comes with that. Like you might not give it enough effort, you might not give enough tries, but I'm gonna constantly make plays though, like for sure. Like I'm never gonna not continue to try to make things happen.
So, I staying on that point too. I know you said you tried different things, didn't work out, and you would try something else and keep going. Failure will force your hand. It will force you to ask yourself internally, after you see how tough it is to achieve this goal, do I have what it takes? Do I have what it takes to push through and do what needs to be done to be successful? A lot of folks don't. So when they have that first failure, they never try again. Never try again. So it's are you willing to commit to what is required to be successful in life? That's the question. So kudos to you for continuing to keep going, keep trying. A lot of folks wouldn't. And that's the reality of it. And so when I say failure forces your hand, it really does. Are you willing to bow up, or are you gonna fall back? That's just how it is. And a lot of folks, unfortunately, they fall back. And we've done that ourselves as well at some point in time. I'm not a hypocrite when it comes to that. But I think it forces you to either learn that lesson, build confidence in yourself, understand how to endure pain and suffering, and can I keep going through this? Can I keep going through this? Brandon, you guys started a business, you and Will, in Nashville. You opened this amazing gym, had an amazing opportunity, moved to a new market, a new city. There was a chance you guys could have failed, right? Talk through that if you can in terms of how you got started, the failures that may have happened along the way. Because now, obviously, it's a beautiful story now. You guys have a very successful gym. You were on the up and up. But I imagine on that ride, there were things that happened either between you and Will, as far as understanding how to be new partners, in between the space of getting the building, creating the building, all that stuff that force you to have to ask yourself, am I willing to do what's required to see this thing through?
Yeah. And I'll prelude this with my perspective, so then what I say actually makes sense, right? So when I think about taking risks, or I think about new opportunities, whether it's the gym or it's something that comes up today, the lens I'm going to look through it as, if this fails, I'm in the exact same spot I was when I started, right? So that is my thought process going into opportunities that have risk involved. So hear what I say through that lens, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pre-COVID, or I guess right before COVID started, we were working remote, corporate America, stuff like that. And then a couple months in, the opportunity kind of came towards Will, and we had some discussions and realized, we're passionate about this. We both were in the entrepreneurial mindset prior to that. So we were always looking for a vehicle as well. Just didn't know which vehicle that was going to be in order to, take that next step into that business ownership standpoint. But anyway, that came through. We decided to jump on that. My risk tolerance is, I would say, very high. I know at the end of the day, if we're not taking risks, we're not going to grow our lifestyle, if that makes sense. We're not going to be able to get to that next phase of life that we want to pursue. The thing that I always think about through is my parents raised me amazing, taught me everything I needed to know. But my dad worked, 6 a.m. to got home 7 p.m. from New York City. And I know I didn't want that life. So I knew there had to be something that I was going to jump into. Obviously, the decision was easy, but going back to your point, to Michael, the follow through and then the actual tangible items of opening up, right? There were, arguments / heavy discussions between Will and I think there should be between business partners. If there's not, then you guys aren't expressing your true feelings towards what's going on in the business, right? I think the discussions need to happen in order to move whatever opportunity it is down the road. But there were points, mid-COVID, we're trying to get construction teams in there. We're trying to do a full build out. We're trying to get vendors to send us packages. Everything was late. Everything was not right when it was coming in. We ended up opening, months later than we anticipated and missed a big rush of the new year. But I always kept the perspective of, by the time this thing's open, up and running, and we're, giving back to people and and showing what this product has done for our life and now letting it touch others, there's a bigger picture to what's going on, right? So you got to understand or you need to have that perspective of the long game rather than worrying about, what's going on in the immediacy. You need to really be a solution seeker if you're going to be taking risk in these opportunities, and realize that these little things that may piss you off in the morning or the afternoon when they pop up, in the grand scheme of things, they have to be done in order to get to that long-term vision. So thankfully, my parents raised me with the aspect and perspective of you're going to need to take risk in order to succeed in the avenue that you want. So I went into it with that, but there was times where I was not the happiest of a person of what was happening during getting everything started. But it's a necessary evil in order to get where you want to go. And I think that's the perspective that you need to have. And I think a lot of people get tripped up with the little things where they, throw their hands down. It's like, I can't do this. But, that next day could be, the golden ticket for whatever opportunity they're pursuing. So all long-winded to say, I think you just need to have the perspective of the long game and realize the small mundane tasks are what's going to get you there at the end of the day.
Here we go.
I want to summarize that, what I just heard. He wasn't afraid to fail, right? I mean, at the end of the day, he knew there was a possibility. He was jumping off the cliff. And maybe that's a little dramatic, Fota, but yeah, jumping off the cliff.
I did move. I picked up everything and moved as well.
Man, yeah, that's a big move.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, he jumped off the cliff and said, "Hey, I'm gonna make this shit work," right? And when I think failure should be a synonym with growth, and I absolutely agree with everything B just said. When it comes down to its core, you don't seek after failure, but be okay if you fail with whatever it is that you're looking to do. Realize that if you fail at something, that's okay. You're one step towards growth. I mean, you're one step. I was listening to someone. If you want to learn a new language, the best way to learn a new language isn't to write down a bunch of words and write on note cards and memorize all this stuff. The professor was actually saying the best way is to fail at the language over and over and over again. Talk to other people in those countries where they're from and speak that natural tongue, in the sense of, hey, you're going to fail every sentence. And the point was, be okay to look silly a little bit during that failure. Don't seek after it, but you're going to fail because it's a brand new language and 95% of the people aren't going to get it right away. Right. And I'm going to summarize. Don't be afraid to fail. And that's something I wasn't really good at early on. I was always that kid in class that you go around and you read in the room, and I didn't want to read in front of everyone. It's just maybe little things like that. But just realizing that the more, it's okay if you're going to look silly potentially to others. If you fail with the intent of growth, that's the best way to approach it. I mean, just give it your all and dive into it. Like Cope said, there's been aspects that we've tried certain business ventures, and back to my original point, there's a lot of fucking surprised people out there. Well, why did you fail? Maybe you just didn't give it your all. Maybe you didn't have the focus, the grit, the bounce back, whatever. I mean, we can make this thing real simple, but then you got to spin that to a positive. What next?
Yeah, I'll double back on Kenny's point, I think. And one thing I should have mentioned earlier is the proper perspective, I think, to have, and what helps out a lot with that is knowing that other people started the exact same spot you are, right? So that point that Kenny was making is to understand, there's other people that have failed the exact same thing you're doing. So if you can have that understanding where you're just comparing yourself to people that have already accomplished what you're looking to accomplish, and understand they started where you are too. I think that puts in a little bit of perspective. For example, I had no idea about opening up a brick and mortar gym before. So obviously it was a huge learning curve, and there were steps that I tripped over, left and right every time I woke up that next day. So I think just understanding that there's been people that are in your spot before, and there's also people in that same spot with you now.
So I would challenge something real quick. Kenny, you were saying not necessarily to pursue failure, right? I've heard this a lot, and Brandon have heard the same thing from this individual who has created a lot of success in life. And he would always say, I'm the biggest in the room because I failed the most. I'm the biggest in the room because I failed the most. Fail fast. It's not like seeking failure is the goal, but when you're pursuing something and you're moving without fear, the biggest thing that holds folks back from success because they fear failure. When you don't feel failure, you're going to fail. He always said fail fast. Because when you're failing fast, you're collecting data and you're understanding, cool, I did it this way. That didn't work. Now I'm going to do it this way. Let me keep failing. Let me keep failing. Let me keep failing until now I can be successful. This guy I heard one time said, you learn more in a lifetime from failure, from one moment of failure, than you do a lifetime of success. Period. So I wouldn't say to you guys, obviously, go be a failure. No, but as you are doing things naturally, you are going to fall. You're going to fail. And you take that as a lesson and you endure. It creates experiences. Brendan now has experiences that he can fall back on and teach his GMs or teach other owners how to bypass that faster. When he opens his second gym, he'll know, cool, we went through this the first gym. We had this problem with these suppliers. We're going to do it this way now. And he has his third gym. He's now more of a guru. His fifth gym. Now I know all this. The experiences you go through and failure and lessons, whatever, you take that and it makes you 10 times better than where you are now. I had an experience, and this is not anything overly traumatic. I'm going to keep it real simple. In sports, my senior year of high school, I was starting. We went 15-0, state champs, and I was the defensive MVP of the game. I'm going to throw it out there to you all so you understand. Your boy was nice. All right.
Here we go.
Now, fast forward though. I got hurt my MCL. All right, missed a few games, came back. Now, I think that part could have been very bad if how I handled that. If I would have been, what was me? If I'd have had we said our first episode didn't have the mental resiliency to withstand that period to get back from where I was, but I came back. We still kept going, went to state, and I won MVP of the defense, which is an amazing feeling. Fast forward to college. My sophomore year, I sprained my left MCL. But I already went through this before. So I already had the data and I had the experience of rehabbing and getting back and still being successful. All conference, all state, all region, my sophomore year. Go again, my senior year, sprain my other damn MCL. My MCL is a little weak. I don't know what the fuck going on, but it is what it is. All right. But again, already had the experience of going through something similar. So I already knew I wasn't down, wasn't upset. I missed 2 games. Came back that year, still was all conference, all state, all region. The point of that is those experiences, when you go through it the first time, if you handle it properly and you take the data that you have from that and you know, I've already been through this. I've already crushed this challenge. I've already moved on and still have success. That gives you confidence. Failure can give you confidence when you view it in the right way. And I think that's the part that I think I really want folks to understand is to take that failure in your job, take that failure in the business you're starting, take that failure in that relationship you have with that girl that you didn't treat right because you didn't know how to be a man and properly communicate. And build upon that. So your next relationship, you communicate exceptionally. You move like a husband. You move like the man should move because you have the experience now understanding I didn't do this last time. I'm going to do it this time because I can.
It's all about it's all about having positive soundtracks. Like if you had a negative soundtrack and that mindset, then you would have just said, I keep re-injuring my knee. Like this might not be for me. But you having a positive soundtrack, you having that outlook on life, that's what helped you, right? I think it's all about having a positive soundtrack in your life and constantly tricking your mind to continue to give like good vibes, good energy to it. But it's so much easier too to have negative soundtracks. So you have to continue to
100%.
Not manipulate, but continue to tell yourself that, you know what, that you're going to get through these hard times. Like I know for me, I'm very big on writing goals down. I'm very big on, but something I've done recently, like within like the last couple of years, I'll write a symbol down, and that symbol will be visible to me maybe at my desk, which is not visible to other people. But when I'm going through those tough times, I can resort back to that symbol, right? That symbol is for where I'm looking to get to, like that end goal, right? And I tell people all the time, like I tell the staff, like, hey, write that symbol down. If you have a family, write your wife at the helm and write your kids around it. So when you are going through those tough days, you can resort back to it. You're like this is just a stepping stone. This is just a trial and tribulation to help you get through it, right? It's like a positive soundtrack to constantly tell you that you're on the right path of this is just like a little step in the road. Because if you don't have that symbol and it's not visible to you, then it's just a souvenir, right? When you have something just written down and it's somewhere in your drawer, it's only going to pop out when like you open your drawer out. But if you have that symbol that's visible to you, then you know that that's the right way that you're looking at life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys do any self-reflection at night? And don't BS me.
I don't do it at night. I'll do it in the morning. But I can definitely do it more often, to be honest.
So that's one thing I've been trying to implement more of, and I'll share some tangible examples here. I heard this recently. Every day, what do I accomplish today? What did I not do today? What did I fail at today? And I think that's a big one. Because D, going back to your point, it's okay to fail. I mean, even if it's every single day, you're getting incrementally closer to those growth goals, whatever they may be. And I don't have kids personally, but B, you do, and we have a lot of friends that do. And I heard a speaker once. He had 5 kids, and he said at the end of each week, so Sunday, they had Sunday dinner as a family, and he asked each one of his kids, "What did we fail at this week?" I think that's a great family discussion just at the dinner table. One, you're cultivating an experience for your kids to say it's okay to fail. That's the first lesson. Second lesson is that you're being self-reflective and present as a family, and learning from one another too, right? Not only are you bringing it out, and you might be self-aware, just by verbally saying it, but then you're having your siblings and your family, help cultivate that environment, saying it's okay to fail. So actually, a question that I have for both you, Cope, and you, Photop. Cope, you lead a sales team at the dealership. Photop, you run in a gym, and you have other members of the gym. How are you guys cultivating an environment where it's okay to fail? And that could be for your employees. That could be people working out at the gym. Because I think that's big as leaders is cultivating that environment where it's okay to fail as well, right? That's how you empower people to a degree. So question for you two, what are you guys doing to cultivate that environment?
I'm very big on one-on-ones. I think that you can tell by someone's body language if they're struggling right now. I think you can tell by the way that they embrace their mornings, the way that they embrace like every single customer. Like, I know sometimes a salesperson can get in a slump. So I will have a one-on-one. We can go over the deal structures again. We can go over like the cars again. We can go over like the processes again. And honestly, just speaking life into them. Like, you know what? It's all right to fail. It's all right that one customer, there's 10 customers that say no, but we're going to keep going up the 11th time. Like, like I speak on it a lot, but my Christian faith has always been like, you fall down, but you get back up. Like that Donnie McClurkin song, we fall down, but we get back up. Like it's just always having that mindset.
Sing it real quick.
You don't want him singing that.
Yeah, we're gonna play it on like a reel or something, but I can't sing.
Yeah, we'll need some viewers for that, dude.
but yeah, man, I'm like, I'm very big on like, you know what, you're gonna fall down, you're gonna fall in a slump, but just keep going, keep making plays. Like, yeah, that 5th customer said no, but keep making plays. Yeah, that 7th customer said no, but keep making plays. Like, I'm very big on just constantly doing that. And the way that I approach every single day, I think it gravitates to the team. I think it gravitates to the team of wanting more, because I'll do whatever they're doing. Like if they need help cleaning the car, I'm out there cleaning the car. If they need help going over numbers, hey Josh, can you go over the deal structure? I think I need just another set of eyes on this. Yeah, no problem. I'm jumping in. Like, and sometimes without them saying it, I know that they need it. And I think it's just being conscious of having emotional intelligence. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're giving them the faith, you're giving them the environment. I love that because I think about my personal experience in life, and growing up, I had a lot of basketball coaches that were very a sense of, hey, it's not okay to fail. If you failed at something, you're coming out of the game right away. And actually, you know this, Cope. I was a late bloomer in basketball, really. I mean, honorable mention junior year, and then I got second team in senior year. But Coach Keeler, I'll credit him a lot in the fact that he gave us a little bit of grace in terms of failing. Yeah, we turn the ball over, get your ass back on defense, and it's going to be okay. Like that throughout the course of my life, just creating that environment, I guess, is what I'm saying, of allowing your people to fail, because you're going to bounce right back up and say, hey, we're going to be even better for it, rather than just those strict, rigid, hey, it's not okay to fail and get the hell out of here. It creates a mindset of individuals aren't going to take that extra leap of faith or that extra risk, right? And whether that's a dealership, whether that's sports, whether that's working out. And I didn't let you answer, Photop, so we can turn to you.
No, it's good. I was going to, obviously it's a different thing from a car dealership, but very similar as far as what Coke was saying. I think the emotional intelligence of, I'll speak towards us as trainers, myself, Will, and, our staff, communicating with the clientele, right? I think we're able, part of our job, to understand, obviously, movement structure within the gym, all the tangibles of, what we're looking to accomplish with the product on the floor. But I think it's also important for us to understand where the client's at. If they need a push, let's give them a push. If they need more weight, let's give them more weight. Let's encourage them that, this movement's mastered. Let's add 5 pounds or whatever it is. Because the clients themselves, I just think some of them may or are not fully aware that they can go ahead and move up a lane or move up in weight. And I think that's for us to kind of give them that confidence, give them that push. We know you can do this. Let's go ahead and do this. So it's not flat out saying like they're afraid of failure, but it's giving them that little boost to kind of push themselves into that growth aspect. And they might struggle with that next weight up or that the next lane that we move them into. But I think it's our job to identify it and then let them know, hey, you can definitely do this. And then let them go attack it. So kind of opening the door for them to go ahead and experience that new growth level is where I'd say we definitely kind of push our clientele at.
So I would argue and say that both you and Josh do very similar things. And these are examples of great leaders. All right. You both have the ability, because you have the experiences, to be able to see where gaps are or where opportunities are in the folks you are leading lives. All right. And I think the voices we hear, the primary voice in anybody should be themselves, as far as speaking to themselves of what they can and what they can and who they are, what you can do and who you are. That's your primary thing, number one. Secondly, you need to have a community. Again, Kenny, last time we talked about this thing about how big community was. If you have a community of folks that have a negative mindset and negative outlook, and they don't reinforce positive ideas around failure, like you have some coaches who didn't reinforce positive mindset around failure, and you had a coach who did, and that carried with you, right? That was powerful. So voices are important. Community is important. But again, it goes back to what we were saying last time about change and creating a reaction of change. When you learn and grow yourself, it is your responsibility to teach other folks how to go through and endure failure as well. And Josh and Brandon are an amazing example of that. They're leading in different ways. But Josh, you are instilling belief in your sales team, because selling cars is hard as hell. Let's be real. You have good months, you have bad months. And if you got a sales manager or a GM who is a horrible leader, you have a horrible sales team. If you got somebody like yourself who has the ability to speak life into somebody, encourage them, you go out and you do what you want them to do. You show an example of, hey, I'm not just telling you to do something, I'm gonna do it myself as well. You have no idea what that does to somebody. The respect they have for you, one, Like now, yo, I will go through a wall for Josh. You know what I'm saying? He's my boss, but I will go through a wall for him because he not only does he speak life into me, he's doing as well the same thing he wanted us to do. Brandon and Will, they ain't working out. You know what I'm saying? They ain't working out with the clients. It's like, cool. No, hey, you can go higher. You know how you go higher? Because I can go higher. Let's do it together. Right? So we don't want to miss that point of making sure you have folks around you who are going to support you while you're going through a new endeavor, while you're building out your business, and while you become a new father. Get around other fathers, husbands, get around great husbands, right? Examples of folks who can come back and help you speed up and get through some lessons of life without you having to go through it yourself. I think, honestly, you're talking about a cheat code. I think the best lesson you can do is learn from somebody who has already been where you want to get to. Why the hell would you want to go through it on your own? I mean, shit. Like I want to give somebody who has been a great father, who already owns a bunch of businesses. Why? Because I can learn from their lessons and save myself time. I might not go through as much failure. I think we need failure. We all need failure in some capacity. You need to fail so you can learn yourself, grow yourself. But just to take back on what I was saying before I summarize, I think the importance of community, the importance of positive voices, starting with yourself, are immense. And then as you learn it yourself, help other folks build that same skill set.
Now, it's so important to have a support system. Like, I'll be honest, like I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for my parents. Like, right, my mom's a pastor for over 30 years. My father had a leadership role in the pharmaceutical industry. So I had both ends of the spectrum, right? Like where my father was more so like he was by the book, where like he's very on a corporate mindset. And my mom's the emotional intelligence of dealing with all types of people. So with them growing up, I was able to get both sides of the spectrum, and that helped me get to where I'm at today.
I like that. Kenny, you operate in a very tough space as well. So let's not bypass that. You in the finance world, my brother. That is a shark world. And you've made it through from moving from Philly to Charlotte, starting off working crazy hours. Now you one of the head honcho. Hey, I don't get confused. Now Kenny over there, he running the thing. You know what I'm saying? He like real cool, like he did some peon or something. Nah. He the boss over there. But you go through a lot yourself, right? You dealing with a lot of different advisors, a lot of different products you guys trying to move and push. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. So in that world, in your experience, what have you learned and what can you share?
Yeah, D, just to give everyone some context, I guess, like you said, I have the opportunity of working with some of the most successful wealth managers, financial advisors, whatever their official titles are. It varies from person to person, but throughout the country. So a lot of these individuals are managing millions and millions and millions of dollars, some of them billions of dollars of real people and real households' money. So it's an incredibly large task. And I would say, going back to what Cope said for a second, what's helped really my own personal development in my career is seeking out individuals that have done it themselves and asking them how they did it and where they failed, honestly, right? So I can get kind of a fast track to learning my own development. And that's helped, back to your point, D, of just kind of speed up my own process and my own acumen and my development within this space. It's just seeking out some really, really good mentors. So I have 3 mentors that I go to pretty frequently on all aspects of the wealth management space. And I bounce around questions to them and just share my own examples of what I've been going through the last couple months, years, and ask them what they would do differently if they've ever been through it. So yeah, I agree with you guys 1,000% about seeking out mentors. The other thing I would say is, since all of these individuals have been through it, a lot of these folks I have the pleasure of working with for 30, 40, some of them 50 years, is they love to talk. I mean, if you ever ask individuals that are really successful themselves, they like to talk about their experiences. So I would say no matter what field you're in, it could be the wealth management space, it could be the car dealership space, it could be working out, it could be what you're doing, D, on the talent acquisition side of the house, the tech side. seek out those individuals that are successful and just interview. I mean, again, asking them where they failed in life, what they would do differently. It's just that the answers and the knowledge that you'll gain will just blow your mind. And I think that's what I boil it down to myself personally is I didn't seek those out early on in my career. I kind of, just like a lot of us college kids, we graduate from college, we read a bunch of books, we think we know it all. That's the wrong approach. I mean, seek after mentors. Once I had that framework of I don't know it all, actually, and I figured that out pretty damn quick. And I'm going to seek after those that have done it. They're living it right now, and they're going to help me make, my career that much better for it. That's what it's all about. I credit a lot of that to just immersing yourself into gaining that knowledge and then being okay to fail. Bringing this back to the topic for a second, it's not going to be all perfect. I've hit roadblocks. I'll continue to hit roadblocks in my own. Just surrounding yourself with that team is going to be instrumental because it's a very complex, to your point, it's a very complex field that I work in. There's a lot of moving parts. That field changes every year as well, right? I mean, there's a lot of things I won't bore you with, but just like all of our industries, it evolves. And if you're not evolving, you're dying. I know you said that recently, D. If you're not evolving, you're dying. The only way you can truly evolve is if you fail and if you're okay to take risks. And it's funny, I'll cap this. The point I'm trying to make, my most successful clients that I work with, every single one of them tells me we've just taken more risks. And in fact, they were okay to fail. And those are the ones that are making $5, $10, $20 million a year because they've taken risk after risk and they failed. I mean, these guys and gals have all failed, but just knowing that it's okay to fail. And then why I asked you guys about self-reflection, I encourage all of our listeners, I encourage the three of you, before you go to bed, before you say your prayers, just say, what did I fail at today? And maybe if it's not daily, maybe it's weekly. Just say, hey, what did I fail at this week? And then why? Going back to, there's a lot of, surprised people out there. Why did I fail? Maybe it's not enough effort. Maybe it's not enough focus. Maybe it's not enough commitment. Maybe it's not. And that's where I think a lot of people fall short. It's just lack of commitment, lack of focus. It's just funny that the more I work in this space, D, the more I realize it's not that complicated. It's you put 100% effort, you take some risks, and you're gonna figure his shit out.
Okay, I like that. One, and I think you mentioned it earlier as well about the father who set his kids down and asked them what we felt in this week. I think that's powerful. Me, Josh, Kenny, don't have kids yet. Brandon's blessed to have children, but I think everything begins in the household. A lot of folks about how the generation is this and that. I blame the parents for the kids that in this day and age that lack a lot of things. That should start in the home. That isn't the school's responsibility. That isn't online. No, that's the parents. So those who are blessed to be parents, one, you got to be able to have this within yourself. All right, you can't teach something you don't have yourself. I think it's important to build the ability to lead yourself so you can lead your household. Period. I can't breathe. Goodness gracious. But great episode, man. This is a fun dialogue. Before we close out, I want to read something to you that I found on Monster. I think this will put everything we're saying in a nutshell. And it was around the wisdom, why failing is good. And what it says is, success is good, but failure is better. You must not let successes get to your head, but also not let failure consume your heart. Know that sometimes, actually most times, things don't go as planned, and that is perfectly fine. For many people, it's easy to simply give up when things don't work out. But if there's one thing you shouldn't do, it is just that. Do not give up, because reality is you're going to fail a lot. But failure doesn't mean your idea wasn't valid, doesn't mean your dream isn't good enough. It simply means there's something to be learned or another direction to be taken. So hear why failure is good. Failure is redirection. It shows you where you shouldn't be. Failure is an opportunity. It's a chance to reevaluate and come back stronger with better reasoning. Failure is not fatal. No matter how hard it may be, know that failure simply means you get another shot to try it all again. period. Okay, so understand that, right? Understand that. Change the viewpoint of how you look at failure. Fail often, fail fast. It's not going to kill you. Learn from it, build the confidence, create the experience, help others do the same, as you always say. Love you all. Thanks for listening. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers, brothers.
See you guys
Cheers.
next time. Peace.
That really matters.